Hello, world. Oh, music's playing again. Hello, everyone. How's it going? Checking my sound volume levels here. Sounds good. Sounds good. All right. Hello. Welcome. Little impromptu stream here. Got some hot tea. How is everyone doing? And by everyone, I mean maybe one person watching this. So, we are here. Our friends at Underdog have decided to give us something to spend our money on as the regular MLB season starts to pay out for the weekly or the main contest period and weekly and all that. So why not give us something? We have the MLB playoff contest, $10 entry, $15,000 to first place. Some really interesting game theory. I guess I don't need that in my ear. I guess game theory ideas, stacking, all that stuff based on the format of A, the baseball playoffs, and B, the contest playoffs. So I have no idea how long it's going to take to fill one of these. But before we try to fill one, we are going to go with, hey, Numi, Shane. This is where we draft the winners. We might even draft a team that doesn't make the playoffs. Who knows what happens when you're drafting this early with a month left. But the first thing, I want to pull up this site I found. Let's make it a little bigger. So this is a pretty simple layout of how the baseball playoffs are set up this year, which is different than previous years. I'm sure most people, or maybe not, but some people will be familiar that the playoff bracket changed this year for baseball. There are now extra, wildcard teams this year. So there is, where there used to be a 1-game wildcard series, we are now at a 3-game, set of 2 wildcard series per league. So there. So round 1, best 2 out of 3. The higher seed has home field advantage for all 3 games, which is interesting. Then round 2 is basically what it was before. You have the 2 divisional series, best 3 out of 5. Round 3 is best 4 out of 7, and then the World Series is 4 out of 7. That's similar. So what Underdog has decided to do, which is probably the most interesting aspect of this contest, they have decided to make the first qualifier round the wild card round plus the divisional series. So we jump back over. Oh, you know what? You don't want to see me. You don't want to see me. Let's make you bigger. There, much better. We'll go over here. So, what they are doing is the first qualifier round, of which you need to be first place in your 6-person draft group, is these two series, or all of these series combined. It's the wild card and divisional. So what we have is a set of teams playing in this wild card round that are by definition going to play more games. So they have a chance to play up to 3 games here in the wild card and then up to 5 games in the divisional series. So the first thing that comes to mind is probably pretty obvious, is that you're going to want a team that plays more games because they're going to score more. The hitters are going to score more. And even the pitchers, right? The pitchers are going to get more games, the starters, the relievers. I don't know if we'll get too deep into reliever ideas here because I'm not too sure about that yet. But yeah, so for this reason, I have been trying to make sure that I am exposed to a fair number of wild card teams or players in my drafts, just to get out of this first round. The other thing that I have been doing is sort of working backwards after that point. I know I want one wild card team as one of my main stacks, with the hope that that team makes it through this wild card series, the divisional series, and they win both. They play a bunch of games. We might draft some Phillies. I have not drafted any Phillies yet. I've done about 4 or 5 of these drafts. So yeah, the wild card team that we think can get to the World Series, which the way baseball playoffs go, could be anyone. So let's get in here. I don't know how much we're going to have to fill it. We're waiting for 3 people. They'll let me talk a little bit more. The second part that is interesting in terms of game theory and, well, I guess not game theory, but roster construction, is we have a very interesting roster. The scoring is the same as the regular season best ball. We won't really run into that too much or talk through that too much, but here in the roster, this is what you're going to be scoring. You're scoring 3 pitchers, 1 infield and 1 outfield, and 2 flex. Total of 5 bench spots. So this is quite different from the regular season, where you had 3 pitchers, 3 infielders, 3 outfielders, and 1 flex. So you can maybe make some really weird builds. You could go as crazy as maybe 1 outfielder if you get like a Mookie Betts, or if you want to draft. Well, I don't know. It probably depends on the team and where you think their most of their scoring is going to come from, whether it's outfielders or infielders. I know I drafted a Seattle team that was a few more outfielders because they have, Julio and Mitch Haniger, and then I paired that with another team outfielder. All right, so we're waiting for 2 people. Let's jump over while we wait. So this, I don't know this site too much. I just found this bracket that I liked. They have some of their own playoff odds playoffstatus.com. I'm not too sure about their calculations or what they do. I do jump over to, you can look at Baseball Reference. They have a pretty good set of data on playoff projections, or you can go to Fangraphs, which I like because they have this category of ads. No. Yep. They have this. Where is it? Clinch wild card. I think that was what I was looking at. So when I was looking for the wild card team that I wanted to do a stack of, I was using that often. Waiting for one person. So something that Shane, who was watching here, and I were talking about today is that despite the handful of drafts we've both done, let's see here, look at the AL Central, which is a pretty weak division, and they, the Guardians have a better than coin flip chance of getting into the division by winning the playoffs. You're not going to get a wild card team out of this division, most likely, based on the records up to this point. But so far, even the Guardians, I haven't seen anyone pull a full stack from. So right now, there is some, you could go really risky, make a twin stack. No, you'd be pretty unique now, and maybe they have a crazy run in the next month up into the playoffs, and everybody, the public views them as a lot better than they view them right now. It's unlikely, but it could happen, and if it does, if you're drafting them now, you're going to have better ADPs, better value on them. But even then, I don't know if they end up somehow winning this division. I don't know how many people are going to draft them thinking that they can go far. Yeah, Shane says do not stack the Twins, which is fine. I have not yet. No, we're still waiting for one more person. All right, so teams that we for sure are in. Let's go league, sort by league. Get a nice racist logo ad. So sort by make the playoffs in the AL. We are, pretty confident that drafting Rays, Mariners, Blue Jays, Yankees, and Astros is pretty safe. Even Guardians, you could probably say is pretty safe. I'm sorry that the Twins aren't doing super great. We'll say they had a lot of injuries, which they did. Their pitching staff was cursed this year. And then from the NL, we got Dodgers, Mets, Braves, Cardinals, Phillies, which it's going to be interesting how this plays out with Harper back, but maybe Zach Wheeler not around. Yes, the Twins do have Aaron Sanchez to help them with the playoff push. Well, no, even then, just like the curse of like they traded for Tyler Mahle, who's a really great trade and just the right type of guy they needed. and then he's got shoulder issue or whatever. It's not great. All right, let's try and get one more. Oh, let's see. Yeah, so this isn't very popular. I think we'll only get one draft in tonight, but we can do this again. And I know Shane is going to be doing some more stuff on Spike Week with Nez. So there'll be some other stuff there. See if we can tweet out. Apparently, everybody is much too busy watching the preseason NFL tonight, or drafting NFL teams, or doing their regular season-long leagues. People with, not as much love of baseball for some reason. That's a whole nother conversation. This is exciting. Or maybe people just have things to do on a Friday night, which I can't blame them. But I do not. Just have some tea. All right, let's see. Well, let's vamp some more. So I did play some of the NFL playoff contest. Oh, we're filled. Excellent. I don't have to get into a boring thing about how I lost. All right. We got some ringers here. A couple of these names have been in the drafts. We got Numi, who's our friend here in the chat a little bit. So we won't. And it's funny because I don't even really care about if he knows what we're talking about, the team, the players, because to me, the best strategy is just to stay in your lane. You read the signals of what other people want to draft, and you try to build the best stack of the teams that come to you, or even jump. ADP is meaningless in a contest like this unless you want one of these guys at the top to anchor one of those team stacks. There's a lot to be said about and discussed, and I don't know the right answer on how many teams you want to draft. The real balancing act is making it through this first period with the potential of having a big World Series stack. Actually, going back to the NFL game where that playoff contest had a lot of people that made it to certain rounds, but they didn't have a lot of players playing because the teams that they had that scored a lot, like Buffalo, didn't make it to the Super Bowl. They scored a lot, they helped them advance, but they didn't necessarily score well in the Super Bowl because the players didn't win their game, which seemed kind of obvious saying it out loud. But so, for instance, if in this league series you have like a full 7-game series and a 4-game series here, how's that scoring going to end up and advance the players to the World Series? I'm not entirely sure, but obviously you'd think that to advance you would want a lot of players from the series that goes longer, but then you don't have as good of a World Series stack. So it's fun to think about. All right, so we got Aaron Judge. We're starting with Aaron Judge, which means we want to put together Joey Votto stealing our ace. So we want Rizzo. We want Stanton. Let's start out with this the power guys, assuming that they're going to be able to carry us in rounds. So let's start there. So I know Joey 19 Votto is a good drafter, so I don't want to throw a lot of shade. He won the Dinger last year, for season long, but it's kind of not. This is what I'm talking about. This is not reading the signals of the other drafters. So he went pretty heavy here on Mets by taking them first, taking Max first, but then he followed it up with another ace who isn't even going to have a wild card round either, which doesn't seem super great. And, it didn't read the signal. I think he would have been better off if he had stayed in his Mets lane, but obviously I'm biased. So Numi here is also not reading signals. And he is stacking Houston, Atlanta, and we've already seen the Doobly brothers here kind of stick a claim on those teams. So it is what it is. Like this is better for advancing, maybe. I don't know. But it's not really reading the room. I'm sorry to call you out, Shane. All right, so we're up next. So yeah, he takes his Mets player. I want to look at. Let's see here. So we want an NL team that's going to play in. Let's see. We're going to take Phillies. Did we get in time? We did. All right. We got the Phillies. So here we are going to try and make a nice big Phillies stack. And we're going to take the guy with the lowest ADP, which is Aaron Nola, which we missed. Oh, go to draft. Ugh. Come on. Autopilot. The bane of the streamer now. I don't know if anybody watched Chess Liam try and draft 50 things, though. I watched a little bit. It was pretty crazy with this auto drafts and all the pop-ups he was getting when things went off to auto draft, because you get notified if one of your other drafts goes to auto. It was a mess. All right, so here we go. Phillies and Phillies only. So we are looking at, we got a few picks here. So let's look at the Phillies right now, likely going to be a 5th seed. So they are going to play the Dodgers most likely. So we're going to build this working backwards based on our first picks. We're going to build this backwards from a Yankees Phillies World Series, right? So that gets us a really strong team in the Yankees that has a bye. Will face, maybe Guardians or likely face a weaker team with a better chance to actually make the World Series. They have better odds of making the World Series. Postseason here, win LCS. Yankees are 23%. Phillies are 6.9%. But by taking the Phillies, we're going to get this potential of getting Phillies through the wild card, competitive 5-game series with the Dodgers, take out the Mets, blah, blah, blah. So we're going to make this Phillies stack. Schwarber, get in here. Reese, get in here. All right. So by building this lineup such that we want the Phillies to play a lot of games, and against the Yankees. So this is sort of what I've been doing for all of my drafts. The question right now that I don't have a clear answer on, and will be thinking, and I don't know, maybe somebody smarter than me at the math can put together, the likelihood of needing a third team to get you through, this first qualifying period. But we got a lot of power. We got a lot of guys that can put up a lot of points. So now let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots left. Right now we have, if we look at our roster, we easily have filled our infield, outfield, and 2 flex spots. Right, so we got a really high chance of having one of the highest scoring outfielders with this set of guys. We could probably use another infielder. Maybe we take a third team infielder of someone we like. But otherwise, we just want to fill in some pitchers from these 2 teams, or I want to. So I'm going to take Frankie. I don't want to take Zach Wheeler. I am very concerned with his IL stint for forearm tendonitis, but I think we got to take him here. That's how him coming back and being fine is how the Phillies survive the playoffs. The rest of their staff, Ranger Suarez is fine. Noah Syndergaard has looked better as a Philly than he did as an Angel. But, Kyle Gibson, Zach Eflin, they're fine pitchers. but they're not the type of guys that are gonna take the Phillies past the Dodgers and past the Mets. So I think as much as I am worried about Zach Wheeler for the playoffs, building as if we're right about the Phillies means that he comes back and takes them through. So we're 6 picks away. We should have 3 more picks. So I think based on the infielders that we have, I want to try and pick up a third infielder. If we're playing as if the Phillies play a lot of games, we probably want to pick a Philly. JT Realmuto or Alex Bohm. Easily be there on that for me. Now, once we get closer to the playoffs, we're going to have these, these percentages are going to be a lot more set. Maybe then that's when we start building in some more of our third teams into lineups, because we'll know, the path that a team has to go. So like if we're taking the Yankees, for instance, and we know that the Mariners are going to play the Astros in the divisional series if they win the wild card, then I'm going to feel a lot more comfortable about working in a Seattle player as an example. Let's see. So we're up here. So I don't think we need to take them. Maybe here we take a pitcher like Shane McClanahan, Kevin Gausman, Dustin May, Corbin Burns. I'm going to take Corbin as a homer pick. And then I'm going to take I'm going to take Realmuto here. I think he's the best option. It might be close between him and Bohm, but he's got the track record more so. So we're definitely filled. I feel like we're filled here at our infield and outfield. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 positions to fill. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys to fill 4 positions. And then we're going to have a 5 pitcher stack. So I like Corbin Burns is a risk because the Brewers are even a little less than a coin flip, 47% according to Fangraphs, to even make the playoffs at all. Let's see, Baseball Reference, probably pretty similar. Yeah, 48.6. The exact same? No. Okay. So it's a risk, but Corbin Burns is the sort of player that will just if the Brewers are locked into the playoffs or getting closer, he's going to start climbing up because he's this sort of high ceiling player that people are going to want to draft. So if we are building the Phillies win the World Series stack here, we probably want another Phillies pitcher. So that is going to lead us to Noah. Right now, he doesn't even have an ADP. Ranger Suarez does, so he's not getting drafted at all. So I like it. So even building a bigger pitcher stack to go along with your hitter stack would make sense on a wild card team actually on any team, if you're building that stack with the intention that it plays more games. So we're going to take Noah here as our last pick. We're going to go out and let's go back, look at that again. Let's go take a look at this draft board and see what some other people have built. Well, before we do that, we got our 5-3-4, which is pretty much what I've been doing. I mean, 5-4-3, depending on the teams I'm stacking and which pieces I want. Is what I have been doing. So we got some good upside pitchers here. Some guys that maybe with the exception of Syndergaard this year, but like I said before, he works into our Phillies stack of them in our theory that we're building this lineup for the Phillies to play a lot of playoff games, but to win the World Series. We've got a nice infield here. 3 guys with power, 3 guys that can put up points, and 4 outfielders that can obviously smash the ball. So I like what we did here. The jury's still out on the game theory of 2-team stacks. All right, so let's make this. Let's take a look at this at some of the other teams that are in here. So Joey Votto here has mostly done a New York and a New York Yankees and a New York Mets build. So he's got some awesome aces. He's got Cortez, and then Chris Bassett for his Mets pitcher. Second Mets pitcher, yep. And then a couple of wild card pitchers. Or not wild card, I should say outside of his stack pitchers. And then his hitters, he's got a nice big Met stack. Alonso, Lindor, Marte. He's got the big 3 pieces that you want in a Met stack. And he's got Brandon Nimmo to round it out. And then for Yankees, so this is interesting. He's got Benintendi and DJ LeMayo, obviously because we took the big boppers out of that team. But with the 2 best Yankees pitchers, assuming Cortez is healthy, and Garrett Cole isn't a pumpkin, he is building this such that maybe the Yankees don't play a lot of games. They pitch really well. They knock their opponents out quickly, so he doesn't need the big pieces. I mean, that's just an idea. And then let's see, Rub-a-Dub Ducky. He started off with a really. This is pretty hard to put together. The Mookie Trey Freddie combination is somebody's going to have it, I'm sure, in one of these drafts, and they're going to win, and we're all going to say that person cheated, even though it probably just came down to a weird draft. But it's even hard to get 2 of them together in my experience so far. But he's got the Mookie, Trey, Will Smith. That's the extent of his their Dodgers stack. He's got Tony Gonsolin and Clayton Kershaw, likely the 2 guys that are gonna step up in the playoffs for the Dodgers. And then he's got a small Houston Tucker Pena stack, and then he just sort of picked the best guys. And the thing with those guys, which is probably a decent strategy for advancing, is that he's got St. Louis, Toronto, Cleveland, 3 big hitters from those 3 teams, and they are all likely going to be right. Yeah, they're all likely going to be teams that are in this wild card round. So maybe this is another strategy to think about more. Is in a different window. Have I been talking about this and you can't see it? This is gonna be great. Oh man, that's embarrassing. I'm not even sharing the screen. Thank you for everyone watching. Was not even sharing the screen. That's great. Okay. Well, that's just great. All right, I'm glad everybody's watching. This was what I was trying to share. Amateur hour here. Now we got our most viewers right now to watch me talk about things that I'm not showing on the screen. But what I was doing was breaking down Robodub Ducky's draft here. So he's got his Dodgers stack, his nice Dodger stack with some pitchers, and then he's got 3 big hitters from wildcard teams. That as long as Toronto and Cleveland don't play each other, one of these teams could play through to through the divisional round. So this is an interesting idea for advancing. I think if I wanted to focus on advancing like that, I'd take a couple of teams, but I'm not sure. We won't go through all these, but we'll look at New Me here now that I'm showing the right screen. But yeah, so he started with Verlander, put a stake on a good Atlanta hitter, and then just went through and built out an Atlanta Houston World Series matchup. I know I was giving some crap before, but he still followed through with the stacks, which I think is a fine move. I mean, he missed out on Jordan and Jose, which might be rough, but there we go. Now that I've fully embarrassed myself and talked about some stuff that you couldn't see, I think we'll sign off and call it at one draft tonight. Thank you for hanging out with me, a couple people, and thank you to anyone that checks this out later and goes through it. I'll probably be doing some more of these, so maybe you're interested and not too bored. But yeah, as we get closer to playoffs, we'll be doing some more of these. All right. Thank you, everybody. Bye.